command, thank you for your attention. We are now leaving days of your existence. May you be blessed by the supreme love and triple kindness.
We understand that viewers in some parts of the region are receiving a breakthrough in sound. We're sorry about this, and we're doing our best to rectify the fault.
40 years ago, a strange incident took place on an English television station. November 26, 1977 was the same as any other day for the UK's Southern Television Network. At first came the news bulletin. However, the TV picture wobbled slightly, and the sound of the reporter faded behind a mysterious, distorted voice.
This is the voice of Kumar, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, speaking to you. For many years you have seen us as lights in the skies. We speak to you now to service them as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world, so that you may communicate to your fellow beings the course you must take to avoid the disaster which threatens your world and the beings on other worlds around you. This is in order that you may share in great awakening as the planet passes into a new age of Aquarius.
The engineers tried to get back control of the station. You can see this battle on the screen. Behind Vrillon's message, the visuals on the TV continued as normal. Finally, the network regained control, and the voice was gone.
And that's the story of 1977 of Vrillon, who is a spokesperson of the Ashtar Command from the Galactic Federation.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I have to disappoint you all because there was a guy who was doing that. But it wasn't just one; it was multiple times that multiple TV channels were hacked, and there was this one guy behind it who was doing that. And later on, he was doing like crazy kind of videos he was showing on that. So back in the day, hacking was very easy because there were no security protocols, so anybody can tune into any frequency and start broadcasting it. So that's how they were doing it. So unfortunately, that was not a real alien.
No, but this one was different. It's actually because the ones that you're referring to, the guy was actually caught. But this one,
the guy was caught.
But this one is hasn't been solved yet. 45 years later. So this one is actually not yet solved. There is actually a small documentary called The Interruption, where a guy does research, but his findings are still sort of inconclusive. But even if it's even if it's fake, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna sort of touch upon the simulation theory, and I thought this was a really
actually a good start for simulation theory.
Yeah, I really liked it, and we're gonna play a little bit more from this person's who actually made that small documentary, The Interruption, from his video, because it sort of shows where we are going with this story. And here we go.
But why should these people come down from outer space? Why don't they land in the White House or in Kremlin Square in Moscow and say, hey, listen to us, we can tell you a few things. We're 700 years old. We can travel through space. We're not concerned with time differentials.
Well, probably they're not concerned with giving us too much of their information because we'd only use it in our battle to destroy each other here.
Did these four men tell you that themselves?
No, they didn't tell me that, but this is a reasonable assumption on our part that the world's divided in two camps, each capable of eliminating the whole civilization. And if we were to go to another planet and observe this condition, we would certainly be a little cautious about who we talked to or what we revealed.
So going back to Vrillon's message, it all seems very familiar. Vrillon, a representative of the Ashtar Command, is kindly warning us to destroy our harmful weapons and we can ascend to spiritual enlightenment. Vrillon's message seems to be a fusion of UFO spirituality and New Age hippie beliefs. This is by no means a new thing. Both ideas are related to cosmology and space, with universal truths presumably applicable to aliens. To my mind, the whole thing probably isn't aliens. It's most likely a hoax. Mostly because this alien voice spoke with an English accent, and the fact that the aliens only managed to hijack a local TV station in rural South England make it more likely the source was a human, possibly a broadcast student, or maybe an outdated spiritualist pulling a hoax. Unlike so many of the broadcast interruptions which came after, mostly in the USA, there's nothing prankish or funny about the Vrillon interruption. There's no punchline or swearing or obscenity or explicit protest. No one ever came forward and claimed responsibility for this episode. Whatever it was, the sudden interruption goes unexplained.
So that is the second part of the last part of that video.
Yeah.
And well, you know, the reason that we're gonna do this show about simulation and reality is because somebody, Gerald, you know, brought to my attention another documentary which is called The Discovery, where you and me sort of went back and forth, where a guy under what is it? I guess LSD. I think it was
Yeah.
LSD, right?
Just psychedelic, call one psychedelic, any psychedelic, basically.
Yeah. And then when you sort of look at two lasers crossed, which make like a laser cross, so to speak. Well, I'll show you in a minute. And then when you look at it while you're out of your mind on drugs, it sort of transmits code, a little bit like the Matrix, like that you can see into the fabric of reality, or at least what seems to be reality, and that it's actually like one giant simulation. And of course, Elon Musk is a big proponent of the simulation theory. I think in some of his interviews, he tells like that he was in the bathtub talking with his brother, I think, about simulation theories on end.
Yeah.
And but there's others like Nick Bostrom is another one.
Elon Musk, we're going to discuss his plans as well. What he is doing. It's kind of amazing, kind of crazy, but we will discuss that.
Yeah, so I'll just this tweet. Follow Vicky Verma from Unexplained 2020 is her, or yeah, I think it's him or her. I'm not sure if it's a woman. But anyway, that account really posts really nice sort of comprehensive, concise, condensed summaries of all kinds of strange things. And this one is about Danny Goller, a filmmaker who created The Discovery. And then he sort of breaks down, you know, the different aspects of that series. And now I think we can also play a little bit from it. And while I'm searching, can you sort of give me your take on The Discovery? Are you there? Wait.
Oh, sorry, I mute my mic. I forgot.
I thought you were.
No, because when I'm not talking, I mute my mic, and then I literally forgot to unmute it. Okay, so while you're searching, we will play the clip first, and then we'll give.
Okay. I already got it. So
okay, let's play the clip.
Here we go.
I remember things very vividly from a very young age. When I was a little kid, I actually spent a lot of time with my grandparents. My grandfather was a nuclear physicist. I remember he was telling me about black holes. And that terrified me.
I was like, that's just mind-boggling. It's a monster, right?
But at the same time, it fascinated me. And I said to myself, how do we know that? This unthinkably massive thing. I realized that nature doesn't keep secrets. It's only a matter of, do we understand? What tools can we use to expand our knowledge? And for me, dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT, was the tool that led me to the discovery.
When I first saw the phenomenon, it was like, holy shit!
But then it was actually like, whoa, what is happening?
Am I losing my mind? But then I showed other people, and things kept getting weirder.
Just for the record, I haven't told him anything. Okay, just tell me what you see.
Oh my god, come on.
Wow, what the fuck? Holy shit. I just saw something. Yeah. What the fuck?
Oh, I've seen that. I feel it.
I've been under the influence of mind-altering substances a lot, but I've never seen anything like that. Whoa.
I showed over 100 people, and I kept asking myself, how are all of us seeing the same thing?
Oh my god. It's changing shapes right there.
The laser was revealing numbers and letters running in a pattern.
They're almost like this big here, and it looks like code.
It looked like programming code.
It's definitely saying something, and I just want to take a picture of it and translate it.
Yeah, so now I also muted my mic. So, okay, I'll go again. So it's like a clip from the documentary. It's not a whole documentary. So go watch the documentary and make your own verdict. I haven't watched it yet. I just, I'm going to talk about it based on this small video clip that we just saw. So what is your impression, Sid?
Okay, so there are a few things. I have to be very critical about this because what he's saying over here is groundbreaking. And if it was that easy, then we would have probably know by now that we live in a simulation and anybody could test it. What he's saying, he showed it to 100 people in his environment. So there is a possibility that he might have done something with the laser where he's projecting code in the laser. So there is I'm not saying he did that, but I'm saying there is a possibility that he did that. Otherwise, if it was that easy, then just imagine every scientist in the world would be doing that right now. Forget about scientists. CIA would be on top of it, and they wouldn't allow a documentary to get published.
Yeah,
Because,
those are valid points, of course.
because what I've understand, being in the UFO community for like a decade now, that CIA is on top of everything, or Men in Black. Don't even call CIA, because CIA itself is different. But then the UFO department, or the world secret department, is on top of everything, including LSD, because they run MK Ultra back in 70s. So it's
True.
not like they are not involved in that. They are definitely involved in that shit. And so that's why I don't believe in that you can just take DMT and then project laser on the wall and see it.
Yeah.
And why laser? Like laser, yeah, it's a light, but it's just a light, right? And I've been on substances, and I've seen stare into light a lot. I I personally, I have experienced seriously like a hero trips multiple times. Like the last one was like the craziest. I have never seen digital code. However, I've seen organic code, which means like there is a simulation, but it's not a digital simulation, because the people who created this simulation, their technology is way more advanced, and they created a organic simulation. I call it organic. They don't need computers. They have like their own technology. What our problem is, like, we think these people who created the simulation are us or like us. So they use same technology. I think they are way beyond us. Whoever can create the simulation, I don't think they are like us. We are the characters in their simulation. So just imagine what technology they will be using.
So
But
you do believe in simulation?
oh, I do believe in simulation. I just don't believe in a digital simulation. I believe it's an organic simulation. It's like the way they design it. I don't know their technology, but it's not digital. Definitely a simulation. Also, every religion is saying that this world is an illusion. This is a very common concept in every religion. This is the real world is outside when you die or where you come from.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely a simulation. One thing on in the like I want to say about one scientist, his name was James Gates. He's a scientist. So he discovered error correcting code in his equations, in his universe, in his experiments. So people should go and look at him. I think he did one show with Neil deGrasse Tyson back in the day, where he explained that what type of code is in the universe. So yeah, there is one actual experimental thing going on, but nobody paid attention to it.
Yeah, yeah, and then of course in Buddhism you have this idea of the veil. I think it's the veil of Maya that sort of hides reality, like true reality, from our perception. And in philosophy,
But Maya is not just Buddhism. Maya is like everywhere in South Asia. So Hindus have
yeah.
like Hindus have a very Maya concept over there. Even in I don't know, I can't say about Christianity, but definitely in Islam we have this concept like this world is an illusion. This is not
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, no, and it's in philosophy it goes way back, to
Yeah.
Plato and even beyond Plato.
Yeah.
And Plato was influenced by Pythagoras, and he was influenced by Iranian philosophers. They waited. I think it was Pythagoras who also went to the Persian courts, and Persia was at the crossroads of all the major empires. And the
Yeah.
mystery cults, of course, they came also from the east.
Hmm.
So there's like a lot of sort of cross pollination between different mystery cults and philosophies.
You know what I think? This not just this world, not this life is a simulation, but afterlife is also a simulation. There's like a deeper simulation going on for some reason. So when you die, you think you are in the real world, but I suspect that will be also a simulation. So your journey is continuing in the simulation, but you are thinking you are back to reality. That will be ultimate simulation, and I think that's how it is. Because
Yeah.
when you take for example psychedelics, you somehow enter in another realm, and you think that that's reality and this world is an illusion, but I think they all are connected and they all part of simulation to fool you or whatever or play with you. But when you die you think you are in reality, but no, you are still in the simulation. And
This is
that
kind of
yeah,
cool, right? This is a nice segue to sort of where we go deep. So I'm going
yeah.
to change the background a little bit and make it nice and trippy. You know this one. This is your artwork actually in the background moving.
Yeah.
And we haven't used it yet. I wanted to use it for psychedelics, but I think that might be our next episode.
Yeah.
But let's use it right now because it's probably gonna get a little bit trippy. So so the interruption that you saw that we started the show with is from 1977, and and the guy that you saw talk, like the old recording of the guy talking, his name is Van Tessel, and he sort of claimed that sort of the Galactic Federation, that they entered uh, our solar system or whatever in 1952. He had sort of like a revelation. And of course, I know how you think about the Galactic Federation. And I totally share your opinion. Like, it sounds really goofy. Why would they call themselves the Galactic Federation? But
Yeah.
but apart from the name, there's actually some important people who think it's real. So we're gonna play a clip, and this is from
Before we play the clip, there is a possibility that there is a collective federation, but what I'm just saying, like, we don't have any evidence of it.
Yep. No, yeah, no, not no. But just
Yeah.
like with almost all of the UAP stuff, you only have like people talking about it and documents and
Yeah.
yeah,
But for UFO, at least we have some sightings and we have crash retrieval. But for
True,
galactic
true. But
thing is,
also,
yeah,
with the crash retrieval, like we only have sort of people saying like, look, this piece is an official UAP. We officially retrieved it from a UAP crash site, but then you still have to believe them on their word that they're not just showing you a rock or whatever.
no, but at least they have some substance to talk about. Then we can just say like, and then there are multiple whistleblowers, and then there's so much evidence for it
Yeah, but
that
it's
you can consider it. But for federation, I don't know. But
yeah,
I'm just saying there is a possibility that there is, because if
I
there
know.
is one civilization out there, it means there is multiple, should be multiple, because like then yeah, you are opening the Pandora box of
Yeah.
life existing everywhere. So
Well,
there is
yeah,
a possibility that the highest civilization have come together and build a federation. Just
yeah.
call it a federation. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, so like what we said, like mostly it's officials, like but high-ranking officials, not just any officials, like pilots, but also generals, high-ranking generals, and politicians who are actually in the know, like what is it, the Majestic 12 or 8?
Mhm.
Majestic 8 is, I think.
Majestic 12.
Oh, 12. Okay. Anyway, those, that they should know what is going on in the world. And then, you got this evidence, like you say, the things that they find, those crash sites, sort of like radiation burns or imprints or wreckage. And of course, the experiences from the people who have encountered these things. But then, also with experiences of these people who encounter UAPs, you do have to take them on their word, even if it's like multiple sightings. You can always make the claim like, it was mass hysteria, people sort of talk to each other and influence each other, or saw a Hollywood movie or whatever. So a skeptic can always sort of bow out of any sort of
Yeah.
evidence unless or until they land on the White House lawn. Like,
They're
and even
never
then,
going to land on White House lawn. That's a
so
stupid idea. Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't do that right
Yeah.
now. Okay, let's go this way.
The big question, has the state of Israel made contact with aliens? Well, according to retired Israeli General Professor Chaim Eshed, the answer is yes. Eshed served as the head of Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years, and he says that Israel and the U.S. have both been dealing with aliens for years. Now, to clarify, this by no means refers to immigrants. Eshed is clarifying the existence of a so-called galactic federation, and the 87-year-old former space security chief told Israel's Ynet News that lots of agreements have been made between the aliens and the U.S. to try and research and understand the fabric of the universe. Well, apparently this has all been kept a secret because humanity isn't ready. And if true, it would coincide with U.S. President Donald Trump's creation of the Space Force as a fifth branch of the U.S. Armed Forces. Apparently, Trump knows about the aliens too.
So that's the Israeli what you call it, like sort of the NASA, like the equivalent of the NASA in Israel, who came forward like 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. So basically, first of all, this was a cover up. So they want to at that time they wanted to divert the attention to this news because they did a very big mess up on the moon at that time, because there is a law, unspoken law, that whenever you're sending a spacecraft to outside our planet, we need to decontaminate it so we don't contaminate another location. What these guys did, they did an experiment where they dropped tardigrades on the moon for some reason. I don't know what they were thinking, and that is like a very big international news. Like, you're contaminating moon, and you're not allowed to do it. This is like every other country was following, Russia, China, US, and they messed it up. So what they did, they launched this guy to divert the attention from that news to this news. So I don't trust these guys because
Okay.
of their big mess up over there. And and then he just come up with the idea of a Star Wars. Galactic Federation is a Star Wars idea. He just stole that idea, made up the story, and
Could be.
didn't give any proof of it. Like, what is the proof of it? For crash retrieval program, there are so many like there is like something behind it. For this story, like, and why the hell they are just talking to why the hell they are talking to Israelis? First of all, why not they are talking to Chinese? China is like China is the biggest contender for for aliens to talk to, because they have so much manufacturing going on, they can benefit them. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but let's watch a little bit more, and because
Mhm.
it gets even crazier.
Covered the most shocking ones. The claim made by Professor Chaim Eshed is that we are not alone in the universe, and not only are we not alone, we're not even alone on our own planet. The claim is that we have been visited by extraterrestrial life who have set up a joint base of operations with the United States on Mars, buried beneath the surface. He also claims that astronauts from the United States have been to Mars and are working alongside the extraterrestrials at this Mars base. This, in addition to the claims of a galactic federation, which, interestingly enough, echoes statements made in 2005 by former Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hellyer about visits by extraterrestrials to Earth as well. Very shocking statements, but extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
So the Canadian defense minister basically also was talking about the Galactic Federation.
I know that guy, and that guy turned out to be little. I know because I'm in Canada, right? So I know that guy very well. So he wanted to. Well, I actually trust him more, but I think he was a little bit kooky too. But what he did, one good thing, he made a law
Yeah.
how you will deal with the aliens, like what is the right way. So he made the SOPs for
Yeah.
Canadian government to interact with alien, and if they want to stay here, what uh, the paperwork they have to do. So he created those SOPs. So that is a big achievement. But again, I don't think he talked about federation. I think he talked about aliens, uh, high highly advanced aliens coming to Earth, and they are in contact with all the governments.
Perhaps, and I don't have like a stake in the ground on the Galactic Federation,
Yeah.
but I am building towards something, so bear with me.
Yeah, fine. I'm
I'll
just
try
gonna
your
have some
patience.
more coffee too.
Okay, because that we started with that sort of segment from the broadcasting, and it hasn't been solved yet, that one. So that's interesting, and it broke into a southern television channel, and then people say like why the hell focus on that area, and why not take over the entire world broadcasting system, right? If you have
Exactly.
like advanced technology, and why talk with a British accent? But
Oh, that is the biggest problem with that one, right? That was like one station in Britain,
yeah,
and why you're using that station? It wasn't even
yeah.
BBC. If it was BBC, I could understand, because BBC at that time was the biggest broadcasting network in the world at that time.
But I do have an answer to those claims of those points, right? I mean, one of
Oh, I
the
would like to hear.
yeah. No, it's very easy actually. When you sort of look at the entire UAP phenomenon, they always target individuals that you think like, why the hell are you targeting those individuals, right? Why those? And I
Yeah, but
think,
that wasn't targeting individuals. They are
well,
targeting the channel which was broadcasting all over the city. So
yeah,
those individual things, they target specific individuals who
yeah.
have certain type of power, but they are not targeting individuals. They are targeting a whole city, but not
Even so,
because
even so, even so, and I have another argument for it, but this is like my initial sort of defense. they work in mysterious ways, right? No, but seriously, I mean, I think these entities, they have a much broader picture, and I think they can actually see probably the strands towards how they can sort of push us into a certain direction. And maybe at this particular moment in time, they needed to do this in order to influence events like, 50 years later. I think they actually have this sort of, I think you could argue that they might have this ability to sort of look like the butterfly effect in chaos theory. Like if you do a little bit over here, it has this
Yeah,
effect over
yeah.
there that we, beyond our comprehension, right? That we
To
can.
be honest, forget them because they are highly advanced. Even some of the smartest people in humans can foresee the future. They they are not 100% sure, but they can see their one action can have a big impact on the future. So yeah, that also they can if are traveling so fast in space, it means they're also traveling in time, so they can do time travel because space time is connected. So you when you're traveling in space, you are also traveling in time. So there is a possibility that they might have seen what they will what their action is doing in the future, and they
Yeah,
can go back and forth to correct it or change it.
yeah, and I think they can also actually pinpoint it, right? In the sense from like we think in blankets, that you have to do something for the entire world, right? It might be actually counterproductive. Maybe you need to pinpoint it right at that specific time and place in order to create events that will benefit your agenda, like later on.
Okay, there is one more theory why it is possible to target that area in England, because what I have also seen that a lot of crop circles were around that area too, and there is a reason for it that I don't believe in ley lines, but then the biggest convergence of the ley lines is at the top of England, in that area where there were a lot of crop circles and where this thing was broadcasted. So there is a possibility that that's why they are targeting that area. And it's not just first one thing, there are like things after things happening in that area.
Yeah, and I think also another point is like it was from 1977, and in 1977 they also intercepted the WOW signal.
Yep.
The WOW signal is they haven't really sort of explained it, but
Yeah.
it was a signal from outer space, and that is also a nice bridge to another signal that they quite recently intercepted, which I got over here. I actually wanted to play the clip, but let's do this first, since we're talking about it. So NASA partner says alien announcement to come within weeks as he claims we have found it. So Professor Simon Holland says he has seen evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence in the galaxy and that it could be confirmed within weeks as two rival groups of astronomers race to publish, one in China and the other one, I believe, in the US. And this is like brand new. This is like from, I think, yesterday or the day.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even read this news. This is crazy.
Yeah, so they and basically it's like the wow signal. So what they discovered is a signal. I think I got it. So he revealed this is a breaking news as of yesterday, but the Chinese might be pipping them to the post with their 500-meter aperture spherical telescope program. It's the largest in the world. And then I think, oh yeah, okay, I think I got it. Yeah, here. Regardless of what the source of BLC's signal turns out to be, Simon emphasizes it's unlikely any known natural phenomenon because it's a single point source, he says, and it's not just noise. The signal, instead of being the giant buzz of everything in the universe that we hear through all our radio telescopes, was a narrow magnetic spectrum. And here we go. Astronomers have been thrilled by potential alien transmission before. When pulsars were first discovered, they were cataloged as LGM or little green man objects. And in 1977, wow. So maybe that was.
Yeah, but it is also possible it's just an FRBs, like fast radio bursts, which are
Yeah.
because this FRBs confuse a lot of astronomers before, and they thought they found this alien communication, but then it turned out it's like a magnetar or a Polaris? No, not Polaris.
Yeah, Pulsar.
Pulsar, yeah, Pulsar. Yeah. So those things are ready. But I'm hopeful that they find it. And if they're competing with Chinese, then they will be like, yeah, let's launch it before Chinese launch it. Because if Chinese are the first one to launch it, then China will take all the attention. So they don't want to do it.
And in that same article, they also tell, like, that they are super excited to tell the news, in the hope that it sort of arrives at exactly the same time that Kamala Harris wins the presidency in the United States.
Kamala is not winning.
That's their personal, hope, of course. But it's interesting that if this is actually the news that they say it is, that it would arrive at exactly the time that the new president takes office, right? Because that has been something that you and me have been speculating about, like last year, that with the presidency, that there might actually be a big revelation coming. And there are new Congress meetings or hearings planned for October. So I haven't seen anything come out yet, but apparently there's also new hearings coming this month around UAP. So I'm kind of surprised and not surprised that this news sort of just came out. But it really ties nicely in with sort of the 1977 broadcasting.
This is actually, yeah. But I don't think Kamala has anything to do with it. I don't think Kamala is going to win too.
No, I hope she doesn't.
Yeah.
It's my personal wish, but I hope she doesn't.
No, it's my personal wish. I don't want her in the office. She's dumb. She's really dumb for the leader of the world. And even her VP turned out to be, there is a lot of conspiracy going on. So I don't like Trump, but I think he's the best option right now.
Yeah, it's the best of the least. Yeah. So let's go back to that broadcasting message, and let's see what else they had to say, because they weren't just talking about nation states disarming their nuclear arsenals, that they might destroy each other, and us joining the Galactic Federation if we sort of disarm and learn about peace, and that age of Aquarius is upon us. But they also said something else which I found very intriguing, because it was quite accurate.
Here now, the voice of Rimon, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, speaking to you. Be aware also that there are many false habits and guides at present operating on your world. They will suck your energy from you, the energy you call money, and will put it to evil ends, giving you worthless dross in return. But your divine self will protect you from this. You must learn to be sensitive to the voice within that can tell you what is true and what is
Well, that I'll stop there. But what I found very interesting is their attention and their emphasis on money, that it will be used as basically as a weapon, and that we will get worthless dross in return after they sucked away our energy.
Yeah.
And some people point out, like, that that this person or whoever this group of people was that sort of took over this broadcasting station, and they didn't find out who they were, that they were sort of inspired by the flower power movement in the 60s, because also, they were also talking about the age of Aquarius, and were also very focused or aware of nuclear conflict. Of course, they were living through the Cold War, and so basically one of the explanations is, or one of the ways that they try to explain this video away, is to say, like, okay, clearly it was an event that was inspired by the things that were on the minds of people back then.
Also, Aquarius is a very earthly thing. Earth people created the Aquarius and the whole constellation thing. When you go into space, there is no such a thing. What we saw from Earth, we created the constellation around it, right? So I don't think they give a fuck about that. Like age of Aquarius, what it has, it's just like the position of the stars, and there are like so many bigger things going on in the universe than the position of our sun or our planet in the right direction of the stars. So that's why I don't believe in that. Like, this is more like the nutcases of 70s, where there were a lot of them who believe in a lot of woo woo, like age of Aquarius and all those things. They
Yes.
come. And one more thing, regarding the nuclear weapons, do not ever disarm them, keep them. If aliens come down and say you need to disarm, never do that, because that's the only weapon which can protect earth from invaders.
Okay, but there's some buts here. So in the message, there's a focus on Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. There's a focus on nuclear weapons and nuclear technology. There's a focus on money being used as a weapon. There's focus on peace, and there's focus on the planet, like taking care of the planet. When you go to John Mack and the aerial phenomenon, where the children were interacting with alien beings, and that is a very well documented case. And there's actually some really nice videos of it. Actually, might be able to pull one up. I didn't put that one ready, where you see the children sort of talk about interacting with these alien beings, but also sort of the messages that they got. It was about nuclear weapons. It was taking care of the planet. They didn't talk about money. Okay, that one is, but peaceful living. So basically, there's a consistency in sort of the messaging there. And I would also like to add, as you will probably also tell me later on in the next episode about psychedelics, that psychedelics and DMT, and there's a lot of people within the psychonauts who sort of follow Terence McKenna, that you're actually interacting with higher beings who are actually beings and not figments of your imagination, and that they are giving you messages which are very similar in content. And the flower power movement was, of course, highly highly plugged into these beings, right? They were, and there was also repression following the flower power movement, right? After the 70s, there was a huge backlash against psychedelics, and there's a beautiful documentary on Netflix about it, where sort of conservative movements, but I think you could say the deep state used the elements within society in order to stamp out this movement, which probably got too big and too powerful within American politics. It could actually influence American politics and destabilize society. And of course, this is a wild theory, it's way out there, that perhaps alien beings were able to influence society through the flower power movement and the 60s, that there was this
Or
opening
it
up.
was a marketing ploy for flower powers, that aliens are behind us.
Oh, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the aliens told people to take drugs and make contact, but it could also be people took drugs and they made contact, and there was a gateway that sped things up, right? Or maybe there was a connection there.
There is a possibility, because when you're on a psychedelic trip, you meet aliens. If you are on a serious high trip, they don't look like little gray people, like little green men, but they are aliens. If you seriously look at them, they look different. They are highly powered individuals existing in a different plane, and you don't only see them, you actually communicate with them, and they try to give you a message or something. So yeah, there is a possibility, but my thing is, again, never disarm.
Okay.
Never put your guns down, because
Yeah,
do
well,
not trust
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
They-
well, I'm sort of agnostic on that.
No, also our idea is like the false, like the very wrong idea is like the more advanced some civilization is more peaceful. That's so wrong. I have the more advanced you are, the more bloodthirsty you are. You just don't see it. For example, back in 1940s, Germans were the most advanced people, and they were crazy. Today and this day, the
The
most
Japanese.
advanced people are United States of America, like the most advanced country. How many people US have killed in Middle East? We just don't see it, so we don't think.
Now
The more
liberate.
advanced you
Yes,
are, the
liberate.
more bigger killer you are, the more violent you are. That's the nature of this universe, I will say. So if there is a higher advanced civilization out there, I don't think they will be peaceful. I think they will be more violent.
Yeah, I think I actually agree with that assessment, or at least there's no way to say that they would be more peaceful or less peaceful, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of we are also sort of thinking in very human-like ways, like you pointed out earlier. So we are basically projecting ourselves on these intelligences, right? Because
Yeah.
it's plural.
But even it's not even the right projection, right? They are just, that's a false projection. The real projection is like the more advanced you are, the more violent you are. That's a fact. It's just you're not
Oh,
killing your own people, you're killing someone else. You don't consider
well,
them humans.
I think I will be neutral in that regard, because I think, like you said earlier, with sort of the simulation theory, and we're still talking about the simulation theory,
Yeah.
is that the simulation theory, if there is a simulation theory, would be like totally incomprehensible. Like it would be totally different from what we think the simulation theory is, because we're using our own metaphors and analogies based on our own current technology. And that, people wrote books about it. I think The Shallows is a good book that sort of describes how humanity used different kind of metaphors, which
Yeah.
was at that specific time the state of the art technology that they then used to sort of make uh, do, to comprehend the world, like to make sense of the world. And each time there's a new breakthrough in technology, uh, then it's the next one that they use to sort of make sense of the world. Like now it's AI, but before it was computers, and before it was the steam engine. That Freud was talking like, oh, it's like communicating valves, and so it's there's like this constant sort of shifting of metaphors that
No,
people
but
use.
you're talking about tools, not the user. So user is violent, and tool can be used for good purposes and bad purposes. For example, computers, they are just a tool. You can use it to create a good database where you transfer money to people who needs it, or you can use it to fly drones and drop the bombs on the innocent people at the same time. So that's a tool. What the thing we are talking about is the civilization, how they use tools, and we have to take the data points, and the only data we have available is us. We are the children of this universe. So if we are any indicators that how universe is acting, is like everything on this planet, just remove humans, but all other, look at all other species of animals, the more advanced they are, the more violent they are.
Well,
The
I
more dumb
I
they
do.
are, the more dumb they are, the more peaceful they are. For example, cows, they're very peaceful because they're very dumb.
Yeah,
And
well,
then,
I do want to sort of throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into it. Like like we said, like the flower power movement was sort of inspired by DMT, and like you said, and other psychedelics, that they perhaps made contact with real alien beings, or at least alien in the sense that they were not us and
Mhm.
real entities. And so you got these fungi and plants that and the molecules within those plants that sort of interact with our brains, as if our brains sort of have these sort of ready-made receptors in order for us to interact with these plants. So what if a superior alien being or group or uh, civilization is actually sort of a fungi, or plant-based, or totally alien from what we can even imagine, like ethereal, or um, I think we have to be kind of careful, and of because we're really using like the world as we sort of think we know it, as sort of a template in order to make sense of things that are probably way beyond our imagination.
But this world is a very good template, because this is what our universe is like. This is a very good example of like a thriving part of the universe. Our Earth is a very good planet for data to be considered. So that's
It's the
what I'm
best we
saying.
have.
Yeah, the best we have. And then even we can see a lot of things around us. Everything is barren as far as we know. So that's what we gonna consider, like whatever we know. One thing I'm just saying, like, just do not trust something else, because whatever we have noticed, like, the more advanced you are, the more deceptive you are as well, because you have look, just take the example of United States. They have deceived everyone that they want to spread democracy, but what they brought is just insane. So they, the more advanced you are, the more destructive and deceptive you are. So
Anyway,
just be careful.
we're
One thing
gonna.
I tell you, in
Yeah.
my psychedelic trip, I'll discuss it in the next podcast one,
Yeah.
but a lot of the aliens came to, they were like very crazy looking creatures, machine elves. They tried to come towards me and they tried to tell me something. At that time there was like a natural instinct of mine, like I start, I put my hand, like fingers in my ear, and they are metaphoric because I did not have a body, it was all energy. But this is what I did, and I start like saying words in my head, so I don't hear a word from them, because somehow I get an impression that they are trying to deceive me. I said, I don't know who you are, I don't want to hear from you, just get the fuck out. And then I was like, la 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 la, I don't want to hear you, stuff like that. So this is like, and I've read a lot about the past people who were deceived through these psychedelic demons or psychedelic angels, whatever. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to observe my own thing and I want to go. I don't trust anyone,
Yeah.
especially being. Why you are interested in me,
But
unless you, yeah.
now we're gonna go to the next clip, and then we're gonna go even crazier.
Okay, let's go.
Things I'm thinking. I was just in bed one night thinking about something, and this message comes through related to that thing I was thinking about in the context of how I was thinking about it. So I'm jumping all over the place here. I apologize.
No. I'm fascinated by this. Can I ask, and I'm not going to tell you why I'm asking this, is there a color associated with this?
Well, as the conversation progressed and we started to get into why they were there beyond simply asking me to please not quit, there were other things that happened in between. But once they started downloading information into my brain, there were a lot of colors. I think of it almost as like fiber optics, how the colors come through as a steady stream, this really fast, intense stream of colors. The ones that jump out the most were blue and purple for some reason.
Oh my God.
I don't know why.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Nobody's ever asked,
blue.
Actually. This is the first time I've ever had to think about it.
No. This really sends you just sent a slightly PTSD chill up my spine, Michael, because I know this will set everybody off. You know, I'll probably cop those trolls yet again and bugger them if I do. I am being contacted from all over the world by people saying they're in contact with blue beings. And the color blue, why I have the color blue behind me here. The color blue is a very dominant theme in what they talk about. And when you used the word downloads before, that also sent a shiver up my spine, because again, there are people who are describing to me how they are literally having the capacity to understand suddenly, simultaneously, without any educational training, complex mathematical formulae in downloads. Have you heard of that happening?
I have, yeah. And I can't help but wonder, the more I've sort of tried to examine not just what's happened to me, but put it in the context.
Anyway, they go on and on. This is, by the way, a really good interview also.
Oh no, this is very important, because you can see in my artwork blue, purple, and violet color. This is the spectrum of the rainbow which I was seeing. So starting with blue, then it turned into indigo, which is very similar to blue, and then violet, and then we enter in the ultraviolet. I can't even explain how ultraviolet is, but somehow it's like basic knowledge, because it wasn't violet. It entered in a different realm of the color. It's like a new color. So it's like all. I'm just saying that we deal in that dimension, ultraviolet.
Yeah, and that's actually also where I want to go with this, because one of my theories for a very long time is, when you sort of look at the NFT space, right, and especially like when it just got started. Well, first of all, like, what is sort of what typifies the NFT space at first was like, it was global, like there were no boundaries, everybody could sort of jump in and connect, and there was no censorship, so it was sort of direct and unfiltered. And one of the things that stood out to me when I looked at the early NFT space is that there were some colors and themes that were very dominant within the NFT space, and blue and purple. Those are like, two colors that really jump out when you sort of look at the total picture from the color palettes that NFT artists use a lot. They are very dominant, and also and one of the things that I think Elon Musk created with Twitter, or when he took over Twitter, is when you sort of read the book Super Forecasting, is that you want a group of very smart people to connect with each other, and to sort of give feedback to each other on certain events, and in an unfiltered way, so that you can get really good forecasts. And you also have different kind of machine learning languages that can sort of pick out certain words that are used a lot, which have like emotional content attached to them, and that are actually used in order to predict the future. So I think what Elon Musk has sort of took over from Jack Dorsey, because it was of course Jack Dorsey's, is sort of like a fortune telling machine or network, like almost like a hive brain, and the colors that are sort of associated with it, I think, is pretty clearly violet, blue, and another sort of my theory is, when you sort of look at those particular two colors, is like, first of all, they're sort of at the edge of our visual spectrum, like what we can see, and also the sky is actually a different kind of color than we actually perceive it to be, but it's sort of ultimate range of what we can see is blue, the blue sky. But within culture and religion, like purple and blue were the colors of royalty, nobility, and religion. Like those were the colors of the robes that the priests wore, and the royalty and the nobility.
And there is also a conspiracy that it took humans very long to start seeing color blue as well, because if you go back in the writing, you find reference of green, and they were mixing green with blue, but then later on they separated green from the blue. But that's like a conspiracy on the internet. I have heard of it. I don't know how true it is that, but yeah, and they give references to old text where they are saying the water is green, which is blue basically.
Yeah.
But they refer to water as like ocean color as green.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And those are, I think, very interesting, right? Because like within psychedelics, those are also sort of, I think you can contest to that, that those are sort of the dominant colors within psychedelics.
Purple, basically violet and ultraviolet is the real spectrum. So it will start. So my trip started with blue. So like I had like the Christmas light at that time, when like always have Christmas light at my house. I like that. So I saw that purple and blue separating. So there is like one light giving one shade, but then it's separated. I see two lights from one bulb, and two separate, like purple and blue, and then everything start turning towards purple and then violet, and then boom, I'm in a different universe, and that's ultraviolet.
Yeah. And I think we're ready for the next clip, because this will sort of tie into what we're now talking about. This is from a clip or an interview that we saw before from Jesse Michels with Daniel Sheehan. Sorry, I said.
Jump, in consciousness. That's what's happening right now, and it's generating a lot of instability, and people are becoming, disconnected to reality, and not trusting in facts anymore, and speculating wildly, and trying to figure out what's going on. In the UFO phenomenon is an integral part of that. And the whole relationship of psychic capacities of our human family are directly related to this. In the whole issue of religions, trying to figure out, whether there's some new religion that is birthing here that relates this. But remember that religion, the Latin root of religion is relegare, which is like to relink. And ever since the evolution of the intellect in our species of Homo sapiens, the intellectus, the Latin root of intellectus is the ability to distinguish the difference between. And so that we've been able to experientially experience the difference between ourselves and all the rest of our environment, and that we've developed an intellect that is able to manipulate that and kind of computerize it and mathematize it and all of that, and primarily to manipulate physical reality around ourselves.
Do you think,
So I think there's a lot of information there that is sort of, that's connected to what we're talking about. I'm going to also show some more clips from it. So what he is actually saying is like that as we sort of progress down this road that we are on, people will become more and more disconnected and dislodged from reality, and sort of trying to make sense of what's happening around them. And that was also something that Vrillen in sort of the broadcasting also said, like there will be a lot of chaos and untruth and disinformation, and people have to sort of stay true to themselves in order to navigate that that world as we sort of move into Aquarius. But that's basically also what Daniel Sheehan is talking about, is that because of the world is actually transforming, and we also talked about it in another context when sort of the general said that there's zero doubt of the existence of non-human intelligence. I forgot the name of him. I think Colonel Nell was like 3 episodes ago or 4. That there is this sort of transition period, right? And that was the most difficult period that he was sort of describing. That there would be sort of chaos as we transition from one state of order to another state of order. There's like this in between period of chaos, like where people are becoming disoriented. And when you sort of look at millennialism, those moments in time when people thought, like, at the end of the millennium, that these millennium movements, when things will fall apart and the world will end, when like 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, you have these sort of movements erupting all over the place, and then people are sort of disoriented as society collapses around them or changes, and that they have to reorient themselves in sort of that chaos. And in this case, you got the UAP phenomenon that is sort of trying to interact with us more and more, it seems. But at the same time, you also have this push for disclosure from within the government, or at least within sort of certain segments of the government, and the push from outside of the government, from more and more people like ourselves and others who are awake because they are information is actually free and available, right? If you know where to look, you can sort of sift through the mountains of bullshit, or sort of the haystacking of bullshit, as Eric Weinstein called it, because the truth is just looking you plain in the face, right? If you just know where to look. And that's why they're haystacking bullshit and disinformation in order to hide it, because they can't hide it anymore, right? Because it's, the system is deteriorating, it's falling apart, and they anyway. So people. So I think, and that's sort of his claim, is like we're at this point, at this precipice where humanity is about to evolve, and is going to have access to these higher capacities that we actually have right from birth, that we sort of forgot, or that are sort of subdued, or that we are distracted from, or maybe even that people are made less than they actually are through maybe food and the things that we do and listen to. But anyway, that we're at this point that humanity can actually reach their higher potential as we sort of move into the age of Aquarius, right? That's actually, I'm not sure if Sheehan also says that, but I think he also mentions that in the interview. So there's a lot at stake, but I think the colors are actually also very interesting in this regard, because they point towards something higher, right? Something beyond what we can see, and it's sort of connected to these downloads and the interaction with these blue beings, and these entities that are sort of steering us in certain directions, either from goodwill or malevolence, we don't really know, or something in between. But yeah. So what do you make out of that? Are you still off? I think you turned off your microphone.
Sorry, I started speaking. So I'm gonna step back and tie with my old theory that the stimulation is not just this earth, is life and afterlife, and a life before this life. So let's just stick to that model. I don't know if it's true or not, it's just a theory. So now, if that is the base of the simulation, then humanity will not achieve anything other than what we are achieving. Because let's just say a phases of a butterfly. They are like caterpillars, then they put themselves in a cocoon, that's the and then it becomes a butterfly. So what I think this world, this life, is we are in a cocoon where we will be building ourselves to be a butterfly in a different universe. This world is just an institute, a school where you learn something and you go somewhere. You will not become your higher self in this world. But if you learn something really good, you experience something really good, then in afterlife, which is still a part of simulation, you become a butterfly. Or you will become a moth or die right after that. But yeah, it's up to you. So yeah, learn the most important lessons. Don't lose yourself in this world. This is just one stop. This is what I believe. I have no proof of it, so I can don't ask me for a proof. This is what I've understand from my psychedelic trips and what I've learned about different religions. So there was something before, you forgot about it. You put yourself in a cocoon. This is a cocoon. This is just an illusion in a cocoon, and then you will become a butterfly in afterlife.
Makes
So,
sense.
but then it means you will not achieve your higher self. Humanity will not achieve anything in this universe, because uh, this is just a cocoon. So you will be like people will be advancing something, but it will be a technology advances, then there will be a catastrophe again. We will restart, and then the circle will go on, because this is just going to be an institute.
Okay.
And I see the destruction coming through AI.
Yeah, AI will be very interesting, right? I think we talked about it last time also.
Yeah.
But
No, but when we talked last time, V Robot didn't happen. Did you see the V Robot event of Tesla?
No.
Oh,
No.
that is. Oh, you missed that? Okay, you need to see it. So, Elon Musk did this event called
Yeah.
V-Robot. Just search the photos of it. It will be amazing.
Okay.
So remember iRobot movie?
Yeah.
So they had like three things in there: self-driving cars
Yeah.
without the steering wheel. They had
Yeah.
like a big van, and then they have robots. So he released those three things: a car without
Yeah.
the steering wheel, so you don't even have a control. It's 100% automated.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah. This one,
and
right?
can
wait.
you?
Yeah, that was sort of like the van.
So and then you have a Robovan, which is like Robovan is like this. But then there's like three things he released on that: this Robovan, and then robots, actual robots, which were very similar to iRobot robots. And they're very
Oh.
crazy.
Yeah. I think I saw somebody make the comparison with the movie, and that
Yeah,
they're next to each other. Yeah.
yeah. So that, and then the self-driving car, which I'm getting, by the way, it's amazing. Uh, but robots are very crazy, and he's saying that he want everyone to have their own robots, a little robo buddy. So that
Yeah.
is going to be crazy. So probably 8 billion robots he gonna produce, which is like an entire army of robots, more dangerous than all the humans in the world. Like just imagine army of indestructible robots. And they've okay, so those robots were not just like standing there. They were interacting with people, they were answering questions, they were serving beer in the bar, they were playing rock paper scissors,
Wow.
and they were doing crazy, they were dancing on
Wow.
What Is Love.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna look into that, but I didn't know all of those things. I did
Yeah,
see the Robovan, and I think I also saw the tweet about sort of the comparison to the movie, which was interesting. But I didn't really look into the rest that you mentioned. So
yeah. Usually I send you stuff, but I forgot to send you. I thought you saw it already. Okay, I found it.
yeah,
I'm just gonna send it to.
it's send it to my other account.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I'll just play the next clip because that
Yeah,
clip
and
was.
after that we'll show that. Well, anyway, I sent it to you.
Are
Just
you
a
already?
comparison.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. I'll pull it up first. Yes. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, I did see this one come by. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the real products which were like live now, and he said they will be available in 2026.
Yeah, it's
And they're
incredible, right?
really cheap. Like the car will be 30,000, the robots will be 20,000. I don't know how much it's going to be a robovan.
Yeah, and the Robovan is more like a public transport, right? Sort of like a.
It's like a bus
Yeah.
for a gathering. It's like a minivan basically. Not a minivan, a big van.
Yeah. You can do a
So
couple of
like
people inside, and yeah.
yeah, it's like a group of friends, like or a classmates are going in a
Yeah.
field trip. They take that, and they have like 20. That's a 20-seater, I guess.
Yeah. It looks really nice. I like the van especially. It's like some
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, van is. I even like the car. To be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah, it's also
it's
cool.
futuristic.
And the robot also looks cool. Oh, they all look cool.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But it's also incredible how fast they're moving, right? I mean, the speed of the technological
Yeah.
development is really crazy.
Yeah. I never thought that I will see robots in my lifetime, but oh my god, I will have a robot next year. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is insane. That's insane. Yeah, people thought it would be like yeah, like you say, they wouldn't even live to see it, and now it's happening, like
Yeah.
in real time almost, like every year, or probably pretty soon every day there will be an improvement. So
It's crazy. Yeah,
let's
let's
go.
play that.
Access a certain vibrational frequency that exists in the universe, like light or like sound. but that there's an extraordinarily subtle bonding phenomenon that bonds every single ultimately irreducible integer of matter in the entire physical universe into one unified harmonic whole. Said, and that this is discernible. It's extraordinarily subtle, but there's a faculty that is evolving by means of which we can access this experience. And when one has this experience, it's like a crystal set locking into a kind of a radio signal, and that you lock into this unitive phenomenon in the universe, and it can download all kinds of information to you non-linearly, like seeing or hearing. He said in that this faculty, we're at the brink of moving into this new species. He said, and I think he said to us all, this is 1968, right? This is like May of 1968. And he says, and I think that's why so many of you young men here refuse to go fight in this war in Vietnam.
Ah, wow.
That's what he said to us in that lecture.
So he's saying that, like, you know, Pierre Desjardins, like I know
Pierre very well, as a matter of fact.
The new sphere.
Yeah,
the sort of mental sheath around the Earth that you can sort of tap into.
Yeah,
where the Russian cosmists sort of believed in something similar.
Yeah, sort of the Chinese.
Interesting.
This first thing that Dr. Zhen Zhoujing showed me. Dr. Zhen Zhoujing, who's head of the Chinese Academy of Social Science, that they've got this faculty in Beijing, 300 of the top professors in all fields that are there for the Politburo. And I met her, that I was chairing for the State of the World Forum for Gorbachev and for James Baker at the end of the Cold War, that I chaired a thing called the Strategic Initiative to Identify the New Paradigm. And I met her in that context, and she invited me to come to China. And as soon as I showed up, the first thing she did is she brought me to the laboratory, showing me all these experiments they were doing with psychic abilities. And they were exploring and trying to figure out what all this was. And so that this is a very real thing that our human family is going through right now. It's a transition period into a kind of a new paradigm. And the UFO stuff is part of it, you know?
Well, Arrows.
Yeah, so this is actually the clip that I was sort of referring to earlier, where he's talking about a sort of like a paradigm shift, where humanity is sort of transforming itself, and they're also talking about earlier. I'm not going to show all the clips. It's a very long interview, and it's worth every minute. By the way, I think your microphone is off again.
Yeah, I'm back now. Yeah.
Okay. And but basically in this interview, which goes many different ways, and we're already over time. I got like hundreds of more clips already to go. I think we have to do another episode. But so one of the things that we also talked about last time is the research from Gary Nolan, right? That some people have like a different kind of brain than other people. And well, I can sort of play that one because I got it ready here anyway, because that will help explain it a little bit to people. Let's see, where do I have it? I even got Carl Sagan here.
Oh, we want to play Carl Sagan. We will end with
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We'll do Carl Sagan first.
I love Carl Sagan. He's my hero.
Okay, here we go. This is famous.
Now, if we look at the shadow of a three-dimensional object in two dimensions, we see that, in this case, not all the lines appear equal. Not all the angles are right angles. The three-dimensional object has not been perfectly represented in its projection in two dimensions, but that's part of the cost of losing a dimension in the projection. Now, let's take this three-dimensional cube and project it, carry it, through a fourth physical dimension. Not that way, not that way, not that way, but at right angles to those three directions. I can't show you what direction that is, but imagine that there is a fourth physical dimension. In that case, we would generate a four-dimensional hypercube, which is also called a tesseract. I cannot show you a tesseract because I and you are trapped in three dimensions. But what I can show you is the shadow in three dimensions of a four-dimensional hypercube or tesseract. This is it. And you can see it's two nested cubes, all the vertices connected by lines. And now the real tesseract in 4 dimensions would have all the lines of equal length and all the angles right angles. That's not what we see here, but that's the penalty of projection.
Yeah, so we talked
Okay,
about.
before we talk about the clip, our restream is starting to acting up, and the clip was not smooth. It was like jerking a lot. So I think all the other clips were fine, but this one was, we were just seeing pictures. Audio was fine, but the video was messed up. So
That's a shame.
I think restream does that after an hour. That's what I noticed. Initially they are fine, and then after that it's just started to
Okay. Well, that's a nice point to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I actually got a ton of other stuff to discuss, but that would take us way over an hour.
Yeah, we'll talk in the next one. But yeah, let's start with this clip.
Yeah. We'll save this one. We'll repeat it for next time. I think next time will be about psychedelics, but I haven't even actually mentioned my own simulation theory yet. So
let's do that.
No. We can save that as a cliffhanger for next time. I sort of prepared the ground for it. Actually, sort of the Brillen broadcast has to do with it. But let's save it for next time as a nice cliffhanger.
All right.
I think, was there anything else, like big news that came out that we wanted?
Immaculate Constellation. That was a big news. The name of the program, Michael Schellenberger released that.
Oh, yeah, I got it here.
Yeah, let's just end with that news, because that's a big news. However, Pentagon denied.
Oh, no way.
No way.
So this one, right?
Yeah, Immaculate Constellation UAP program.
Do you want to do a summary of it, or should I play it?
Just play it. It's a big podcast, I think. Or is it a clip? We can't play the whole thing, but I'll just... If it's just a trailer, then we'll play it. Otherwise, I'll just play it.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's like 1 hour and 4 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, just play the first part, then it will give you the summary, but then it is lagging, so we can't even show it.
Yeah,
okay.
But at least
anyway,
the sound.
I'll just give you the summary of that.
Okay.
Or do you want to give it to?
No, do the summary, and then
from my head, what I remember, we were talking about a secret crash retrieval program for a very long time, and what was happening whenever these journalists trying to get declassified data, they sent a request, and if your request is not to the point about the specific like program, they can deny it. So that's like a loophole. So in order to fix that, they need to find the name of the program.
Yeah.
So one or two new whistleblowers from Pentagon came out. They gave this name of the program to Michael Schellenberger, that there is a program which is like which supersede all the crash retrieval program, and every other small programs work underneath that umbrella, and the name of the program is Immaculate Constellation. So this time Michael Schellenberger sent the request to ask about that program. They took a week more than usual to answer the query, and then they came out and they said there is no Immaculate Constellation program. But I'm pretty sure they're lying like everything else. So
probably.
There is also a possibility that those whistleblowers are from, are the double agent from Pentagon to spread misinformation. So they gave wrong name to Michael Schellenberger to ask for the wrong thing, so to discredit him more. So there's so many possibilities. But yeah, this is the big news.
I think this might be connected to it, because I think this came out around the same time. So I haven't listened to this, but this is somebody with first-hand knowledge of UAP retrieval reverse engineering programs, Kirk McConnell, 37 years old, professional staff members, and he spoke out. So let's take a listen. I'm very curious.
You're telling me people have come forward claiming firsthand knowledge of craft of non-human origin.
That's correct. We have sources who have asserted not only that there have been crashes, but there have been crash retrievals.
Sorry, people who have had firsthand knowledge, who claim to have firsthand knowledge of seeing this type of thing? That's or have firsthand knowledge or firsthand claims of certain things. Some are public figures, and you've heard from them in the past. Others, have not shared publicly. Again, we are trying, all of them have, in many cases, understandings of different elements of this firsthand. They may have heard some of the other pieces.
It is through the whistleblower process that people are contacting Congress and going through a debrief process where they're saying they've been part of this or that program. And we can't reveal the precise nature of what's been said, but we've had a variety of pretty intense conversations.
How do you guys lay that out? I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General and some of which to the intelligence committees. I actually had the people with the firsthand knowledge provide a protected disclosure to the Inspector General.
Most of these people, at some point, or maybe even currently, have held very high clearances and high positions within our government. So you do ask yourself, like, what incentive would so many people with that kind of qualification, these are serious people, have to come forward and make something up?
We have people that have very high clearances, both today and in the past, who did really important work for our government or continue to do important work for the government, who have come forward with some claims about the U.S. having in the past recovered exotic materials and then reverse engineered those materials to make advances in our own defenses and technologies.
We've also been notified by multiple credible sources that information on UAPs has also been withheld from Congress, which, if true, is a violation of the laws requiring full notification to the legislative branch.
And the reason why I'm being cautious, I'm not trying to be evasive, but I am trying to be protective of these people. Some of these people still work in the government, and frankly, a lot of them are very fearful of their jobs, fearful of their clearances, fearful of their career, and some, frankly, are fearful of harm coming to them.
Yeah, so it's sort of a clip where they tied up a lot of stuff.
Also, video was so messed up. I think.
Yeah.
I think restream is done.
Yeah.
Gonna allow us for an hour. After that, what I noticed after an hour, it's just messed up.
Okay, so we'll have to try and stick to an hour, or at least save the analysis after the hour, so that we can play the clips in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay.
But I had a great time. I think we covered a lot of ground. I think we're halfway through.
Yeah. Next week is your simulation theory. Let's see.
Yeah, so it will be simulation part 2, and then if we have time left over, we can do psychedelics, or we can do a third one on psychedelics.
Yeah.
But we also have the one about Antarctica that is still, and we also wanted to do on geopolitics, and so.
Yeah, there's so much happening. We'll see. Also, elections are coming. We'll do something about the elections too.
Yeah, and probably there will be new UAP hearings. So I imagine that will also take up some time. But but I think I think we covered a lot of ground, and I had some time to share at least some of my theory, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
All right, take care.
Take care, everyone, and see you next time.
See ya.